Subscribe to the William Pace Show YouTube channel. Be sure to click the bell and give us the thumbs up. Thank you.
The William Pace Show through the years has been a beacon of light in the Midwest, taking you to such destinations as the Navy Pier, the Palmer Hilton Palace Hotel, the German Village, the Showboat Majestic Theatre, the Ohio Village, and the Krohn Conservatory. There's always something cooking in the kitchen on the William Pace Show. Some of the biggest stars, entertainers, and political figures like B.B. King, Jimmy Walker, Bob Carlisle, Patti Austin, Mr. T, Whitley Phibbs, and Congressman Tony Hall have appeared on the William Pace Show. Now, without further ado, we proudly present the William Pace Show on CATV, coming to you from the heart of the Midwest. The William Pace Show, asking the questions you want to ask, getting the answers everyone wants to know. It's a new season of the William Pace Show. We're raising the bar with more commitment to educate, inform, encourage, inspire, empower, and help you have your best life. Everyone deserves to have their best life. I'm just staying the course. Here we go.
Hello, I'm William Pace. I'd like to thank you, the viewers, for watching my show for the past 10 years. And I'd like to thank the sponsors and advertisers for their loyal support of the show. As we start the 11th season of the William Pace Show, we move to a new day, Sunday afternoon at 5:30 p.m. So now you can tune us in after your Sunday dinner right here on WUCT Channel 51 at 5:30 p.m. The William Pace Show is produced by Barton Productions. The following is produced and paid for by Barton Productions. Barton Productions producing quality television programming for 11 years. In addition, we produce documentaries, corporate videos, commercials, and much more. Call Barton Productions at 275-0150. Now, without further ado, we proudly present the William Pace Show. Good evening, I'm William Pace. Thanks so much for tuning us in tonight. Tonight my guest is Maestro Neal Gittleman, conductor for the Dayton Philharmonic Orchestra. As you know, we always start the show out by reading letters from the viewers, and I love this part of the show. I just love to hear from you. To write to the William Pace Show, write to P.O. Box 3644, Dayton, Ohio 45401. That's P.O. Box 3644, Dayton, Ohio 45401. If your letter is chosen to be read on the air, you'll receive a gift from the William Pace Show. The first letter comes from an R. Kelly of Kettering, Ohio. And the letter says, Dear Mr. Pace, I have been watching your show for the last several years and just wanted to let you know how much I enjoy the opportunity to be able to watch a local show such as yourself. It is clear to the more than casual observer that your efforts, both mental and physical, bring a touch of professionalism into local TV programming that pleases me greatly. Keep up the good work and we shall all surely benefit. Sincerely, R. Kelly. Well, thank you very much for writing, and we're going to send you a box of Esther Price Fine Chocolates. Coming up next, conversation with Maestro Neal Gittleman. Stay with us.
The William Pace Show through the years has been a beacon of light in the Midwest, taking you to such destinations as the Navy Pier, the Palmer Hilton Palace Hotel, the German Village, the Showboat Majestic Theatre, the Ohio Village, and the Krohn Conservatory. There's always something cooking in the kitchen on the William Pace Show. Some of the biggest stars, entertainers, and political figures like B.B. King, Jimmy Walker, Bob Carlisle, Patti Austin, Mr. T, Whitley Phibbs, and Congressman Tony Hall have appeared on the William Pace Show. Now, without further ado, we proudly present the William Pace Show on CATV, coming to you from the heart of the Midwest.
Subscribe to the William Pace Show YouTube channel. Be sure to click the bell and give us the thumbs up. Thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning us in tonight. My special guest is Maestro Neal Gittleman, conductor for the Dayton Philharmonic Orchestra. Thanks so much for coming on tonight.
Thanks, William.
Now, this is your 4th season on the podium.
Right.
What do you think after 4 years?
It's been really great working with the orchestra. The first thing that comes to my mind when you say that is, has it really been 4 years? And I have to look at the calendar just to be sure. And if time really does fly when you're having fun, I guess I'm having fun because the time is really flying.
Are you having a lot of fun?
Yeah, it's been wonderful working with the orchestra. We've really made a lot of progress, I think, in the past 4 seasons, and the orchestra is playing better and better every time we go out on stage. The audiences have been very responsive to what we've been doing and have been growing nicely, and it's really been great working here.
Mm-hmm. Now, prior to Dayton, you used to live in Milwaukee, right?
Yes, my previous full-time job was as associate and resident conductor of the Milwaukee Symphony.
Mm-hmm. So for a while, for 2 years, you commuted back and forth then?
Right. The first 2 years that I was music director here, I was still working full-time in Milwaukee. So we had a house in Milwaukee and an apartment in Dayton, and sometimes I wasn't sure where I was.
Tell me, next year will be the 5th season for the Dayton Philharmonic Orchestra. What's exciting for the 5th season?
Well, we have some very exciting guest soloists coming to play with us next year, including not just Salerno Sonnenberg, one of the world's great violinists, pianist Andre Watts will be here for a special benefit concert. And it's just, it's a really fun season. It's got a tremendous amount of variety in it. We just got written up actually last week in the Cincinnati Enquirer. They saw our season and the reviewer liked it so much she wrote a whole preview article on it as if we were their local orchestra, which was kind of flattering.
There seems to be a big interest in Cincinnati in the work that the Dayton Philharmonic is doing in Dayton.
Well, it's true. We do get a surprisingly large amount of coverage in Cincinnati for what we do. Their reviewer of the Cincinnati Enquirer seems to be a big fan of what we're doing here and comes up every couple of, maybe a couple of times a season when there are things that she finds particularly interesting. And usually when she comes up, she'll write reviews, and so we get some nice press down there. It probably annoys the Cincinnati Symphony no end that some of their press time is being taken up with us, but so much the better for us, I guess.
Tell me, what is a day like in the life of Neal Gittleman? When you get up, I mean, working with the orchestra, what's the day like?
Well, one of the funny things that many people can never quite understand about orchestral life, and that includes orchestral people, is that every day is different. We all have very busy schedules. The musicians divide their time. They don't just play with us full time. They do other things. And so everyone comes to the orchestra usually at the end of the day, having already been busy doing other things. I fortunately don't have another job to do, so I can devote myself full time to orchestral matters. But I have, in addition to what we do in rehearsal, I have a lot of private study time that I need to do to prepare myself, as well as administrative work and helping out with things like this, public relations and fundraising and doing everything that's possible to make the orchestra a vibrant part of the community. But every day is different. I mean, I have got a Franklin Daily Planner, and if I don't open it up and look at it at 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm not 100% sure what has to get done.
Tell me, in the times that we're living in, when pop music is sort of a dominating force that we're in now, how can we turn classical music into a dominating force? These pop icons, superstars can show up and fill an arena, sell out. And how can we turn all of that around towards and make classical music that way too?
Well, I would maybe even check the premise of the question first.
Okay.
Because I wonder what would happen to classical music if classical music was a dominating force in the entertainment industry the way pop music is. You use the word sell out in terms of filling arenas, but there's the other meaning of the word sell out in terms of losing your artistic integrity and just going for for the box office dollar. And I think if you look at people who are in pop music, it's very difficult, even for the people who are really fine artists in whatever their discipline is. It's very hard for them to walk that line between their artistic integrity and doing what the marketing department says. So I think in a way, it may be better that we're not selling as many records as...
So it's not so much quantity, man.
I really think it's a question of quality. I mean, obviously we want to touch as many people in our community as we possibly can, but we don't have to be as much in the face of listeners as pop music artists are in order to be successful. Our music is music, I think, which takes a little bit of reflection to really, I don't want to say to understand and appreciate, but to really have it reach you. It's not music that's meant to be just listened to casually. It can be, but it really has a more powerful effect if you can listen and then think about what you've done. It's not simply for entertainment. It's also for nourishing the spirit. And so I think if, I, for instance, don't listen to classical music just for entertainment, because that would be a little too intense for me. I mean, it's not just a question that it's work. If I want to listen to relax, I will listen to popular music, or certainly not
Do you
classical
really?
music. Oh,
Do you really?
Yeah.
And what pop music do you listen to?
Well, I must confess, I'm one of those tail end of the baby boomers. I like oldies. I like the music I grew up with.
Such
the
as?
Beatles and the Stones and the Who and stuff like that. But I do like to listen to some, folk music and acoustic music and bluegrass. And I don't keep up with pop music the way I used to. But I know what I like when I hear it.
Now, you work with a variety of different kind of artists. Let's talk about some of the artists that you're working with in this season and in next season.
Well, for instance, this season, and we're talking about pop people. I mean, one of the highlights for me this season was when we did a Pops concert with Judy Collins.
Yeah.
And I suppose it may have been a little embarrassing for her, but I grew up with her music. I mean, I fell in love with Judy Collins' music, I think, when I was 14 years old. And she's been one of my favorite performers. And this is, I think, the third time that we've worked together in a symphonic context, and it's always a great pleasure. We also have some fantastic artists coming up next season. Andre Watts will be with us, and also not just Lerna Sonnenberg, a great violinist. And we have really, we've got in our artists, we have some big name artists who we hope everyone will recognize in the classical world. We also like to feature some young and up and coming artists, and we have a couple of those coming up next season as well, so that people have a chance, maybe 10 years from now, when, for instance, next year we've got a wonderful young flutist named Damari McGill coming with us, and 10 years from now, when he's the hottest thing in classical music, people will say, we had him in Dayton 10 years ago.
There you go. There you go. More with Neal Gittleman when we return. Stay with us.
The William Pace Show through the years has been a beacon of light in the Midwest, taking you to such destinations as the Navy Pier, the Palmer Hilton Palace Hotel, the German Village, the Showboat Majestic Theatre, the Ohio Village, and the Krohn Conservatory. There's always something cooking in the kitchen on the William Pace Show. Some of the biggest stars, entertainers, and political figures like B.B. King, Jimmy Walker, Bob Carlisle, Patti Austin, Mr. T, Whitley Phibbs, and Congressman Tony Hall have appeared on the William Pace Show. Now, without further ado, we proudly present the William Pace Show on CATV, coming to you from the heart of the Midwest.
Subscribe to the William Pace Show YouTube channel. Be sure to click the bell and give us the thumbs up. Thank you.
We're back with Neal Gittleman, conductor of the Dayton Philharmonic Orchestra. We were talking before break about some of the artists that you were working with this season, and tell me a little bit about the artists for next season, and what does next season promise?
Well, next season is going to be a season of a lot of variety. We have some new pieces that we're doing, and a lot of unfamiliar, great classics that aren't played that often, as well as some very familiar pieces. When I first came to the orchestra, one of the things we did in my first 3 seasons is do a cycle of the 9 Beethoven symphonies, 3 a year. And this next coming season will be the first time we're going back to any Beethoven symphonies after finishing that cycle, which will be very interesting. One of the things that's happened this past year is, for the first time, we've played a couple of pieces that we played in my first season or at my first concert with the orchestra when I was still a candidate. And it's really fascinating to hear how much the orchestra has changed from 4.5 years ago to now. And you know, we generally don't repeat any pieces of music within a 5-year period. I mean, we try to make it longer, but you know, some things like music of the standard repertoire, Beethoven and Brahms, you want to repeat periodically. So it should be interesting for audiences over the next couple of years as they start hearing pieces for the second time during my tenure, and they can judge for themselves how far we've come.
Now, how many guest artists will you have in the 5th season?
We have, on our subscription season, our classical concerts, we generally have guest artists on 8 of the 9 programs. One is always an all-orchestral program. But we also have some special events, our benefit concert, where we have a guest artist. So we try and bring in a wide variety of guest artists. Some, you know, in most orchestras, the standard rotation is you have about a third of your guest artists are pianists, and if not more, maybe even a half. A third are often violinists. You have a couple of cellists, and that's about it. We try to have a little more variety than that. We have a flute soloist.
Tell me some of the names. Have you lined up the guest artists for next season?
Yes, yeah, they're all lined up. I may not remember all of them, but we have, as I mentioned earlier, a wonderful young flutist by the name of Damari McGill, a great pianist, French-Canadian pianist by the name of Louis Lortie, who will be doing a Mozart piano concerto at the end of the season, a fantastic young cellist by the name of Mark Kossover, who played with us on our chamber orchestra series a couple of years ago. He'll be back to do Strauss's Don Quixote, which is a big piece. On our pop season, we're leading off the season with Lou Rawls, which will be great fun for me. I mean, I love that. He is such a great artist. We have the Canadian Brass. Maureen McGovern will be here for a Christmas holiday concert. So we've got
an exciting season.
Oh, it's a very exciting season.
Wow. How do you go about selecting which artists you want? Is it because of maybe they're in demand, or they're popular, or they're available?
It's a little bit of all of those things. We keep a list of people who we want to work with. I mean, we as an orchestra. So it's not just me. It's other people. It's musicians, members of the board, people on the staff. And that list includes both people who have not been to Dayton before and people who have been here and have been very successful. And actually, one of the toughest things to work out, excuse me, when we only have 9 classical concerts and 4 pops concerts a year. One of the tough things is to, you have a lot more people you want to have come than you have slots to put them in.
Wow.
So it's a juggling act, and there are all kinds of factors that go into it. You have a budget. And you can't,
Yes, I know about budget.
If all you do is get everybody you want, you may end up, spending 4 or 5 times what your artist budget is, and then you have artist availability. You can't always get for instance, one of the most exciting soloists we've had since I've been here was the English percussion player Evelyn Glennie, who worked with us, I think, in my 2nd season, and we tried to get her for this season and we couldn't get her, just because she wasn't available. We tried to get her for next season and we couldn't get her. And we're already trying to book her for the 2000-2001 season. So, someone like that who is really in demand, you have to sort of wait online and see. In some cases, it may just be a question of getting lucky. If they have some availability between 2 other gigs, and we can sneak them into Dayton in between.
I want to talk a little bit about your background. Where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in Brooklyn. Till I was 10 years old. My mother was a public school music teacher. My father was at the time was a grad student in English and was an English professor. Spent my formative years there. Then later on, we lived in Norwich, Vermont for 4 years. My father was then teaching in the English department at Dartmouth College. And eventually the family settled just outside Boston. And so that's where I was through high school. And that's right.
What made you decide that, I'm going to be a conductor? Was it an obvious decision that you came to that realization, or just by accident you came to that? How did you come to that lot in life?
The conductor thing came late. I mean, I didn't decide I wanted to be a conductor when I was 4 years old looking at Leonard Bernstein on TV. It wasn't one of those stories.
Wasn't that subtle? Wasn't that obvious?
No. But it was really when I went to college. I went to Yale for my undergraduate school, and I was playing, even as a freshman, in the Yale Symphony Orchestra, which was a really great orchestra. I mean, very exciting to play in. And the conductor of the orchestra was a lot of fun to work with, and he looked like he was having a lot of fun. And that was what sort of got me interested. It was like I'd never really thought of conducting as a career before, but I saw what a good time he was having up there, and I thought, maybe that would be worth looking into. And one thing led to another, and 25 years later, here I am, I guess, or whatever it is.
Let's talk about the musicians you work with. Do you find it sometimes a challenge working with some of the musicians, or is it pretty easy to work with them to get what you want from them and translate it into the work, the performance?
It's always a challenge, because what you're doing with an orchestra is you've got somewhere between 60 and 100 people, all of whom are very well trained professionals, all of whom have their own particular ideas about how music should be played, and their own particular ideas about how the music in front of them should be played. And it's your job, whatever the orchestra is, to get them to come together and play as a unit and, in effect, give up a little bit of their individuality for the sake of the overall performance, but at the same time not feel that they're being pushed into a box.
How many musicians are there in the orchestra?
Well, at our normal full strength, it's about 85. For some concerts, we play with less, depending on the music, and for some concerts, we play with more if we're doing a piece that calls for more players. So a lot of it is a question of psychology, of getting a large number of individuals to pull together as a unit, and that's a challenge whether you're working with, the West Topeka Symphonette, or the Berlin Philharmonic, or us, who are somewhere in between. It's a question of musicianship, and it's a question of group psychology, and it's a question of cooperation too.
You mentioned an important word, psychology. That is very important, because you have to learn the psychology of people.
Right. Exactly.
To get the best out of them.
And also as players. I mean, the fact that I've had some experience, even though it wasn't professional level experience, playing in an orchestra makes a big difference, because I know what it's like to be on the other side of the podium, and I understand some of the stresses that they deal with and some of the frustrations that the musicians deal with, and I think it helps me to be a more effective, and I would hope also a more humane leader up on the podium.
I want to talk about is it Classical Connections? That's like a little subdivision that you've started. Tell us a little bit about Classical Connections.
Classical Connections is a relatively new series that we've been doing here in Dayton. This is, next year will be the third year that we're doing it as a series, but it's something I've been doing for about 11 years now with different orchestras. It's a series where, in addition to playing a piece of music, we talk about it and demonstrate it. If anyone has ever seen a young person's concert that we've done, that we do for school kids, it's very similar to that in terms of the dynamic. Talking about a piece, taking it apart, showing how it's put together, why it works the way it is, giving the listeners a few behind the scenes and a few points of reference to listen for, so that when you hear the whole piece of music, they have a sort of context to put it in. And it's very successful. It gives the audience, it kind of breaks down some of the barriers that have grown up over the years between audiences and classical music, and makes people have a more immediate connection. That's why we call them classical connections. But you feel, the audience feels a better connection to the music, and it just works really well.
Where the time is all gone.
Fleeting.
It seems like you just got here.
Time flies when you're having fun. What
It
did we
really
say?
does. Will you come back again?
Sure, I'd love to.
You will. Okay. Well, we can't let you leave without a box of Esther Price fine chocolates.
Well, then I'll definitely come back.
Okay. It's Dayton's best. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
coming
much,
on.
William. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Tell Janice hello.
I will.
There's more to come on the William Pace Show. Stay with us.
The William Pace Show through the years has been a beacon of light in the Midwest, taking you to such destinations as the Navy Pier, the Palmer Hilton Palace Hotel, the German Village, the Showboat Majestic Theatre, the Ohio Village, and the Krohn Conservatory. There's always something cooking in the kitchen on the William Pace Show. Some of the biggest stars, entertainers, and political figures like B.B. King, Jimmy Walker, Bob Carlisle, Patti Austin, Mr. T, Whitley Phibbs, and Congressman Tony Hall have appeared on the William Pace Show. Now, without further ado, we proudly present the William Pace Show on CATV, coming to you from the heart of the Midwest.
Subscribe to the William Pace Show YouTube channel. Be sure to click the bell and give us the thumbs up. Thank you.
We're gearing up for the William Pace Happy Holiday Fund, and one of our big sponsors this year is Top Notch Construction Company. They have given us this beautiful security screen door to give away on the air, and just for $1 you could be the lucky winner of this door. Stop in today at Top Notch Construction Company, located at 2228 North Main Street, or call them at 277-0126. To write to the William Pace Show, write to P.O. Box 3644, Dayton, Ohio 45401. That's P.O. Box 3644, Dayton, Ohio 45401. If your letter is chosen to be read on the air, you'll receive a gift from the William Pace Show. Gotta go. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
The William Pace Show through the years has been a beacon of light in the Midwest, taking you to such destinations as the Navy Pier, the Palmer Hilton Palace Hotel, the German Village, the Showboat Majestic Theatre, the Ohio Village, and the Krohn Conservatory. There's always something cooking in the kitchen on the William Pace Show. Some of the biggest stars, entertainers, and political figures like B.B. King, Jimmy Walker, Bob Carlisle, Patti Austin, Mr. T, Whitley Phibbs, and Congressman Tony Hall have appeared on the William Pace Show. Now, without further ado, we proudly present the William Pace Show on CATV, coming to you from the heart of the Midwest.
Subscribe to the William Pace Show YouTube channel. Be sure to click the bell and give us the thumbs up. Thank you.